Hey, what's going on, everybody? You got the old Mongo Man out here in the shop. It is Friday evening, quarter to 11. Wanted to give you an update on what's happening with Tutol. Obviously, as you can see here beside me, we got the cab back on the frame, and that's awesome. But there has been some trials and some tribulations along the way, and let me explain what's going on here. So Wednesday evening, Chad came over, and we went ahead and set the cab back on the frame. That all ended up very good. We got it to hang right, good and flat and straight, and it went right down on the frame. Didn't have any problems with that at all. Later that evening, we went ahead and started hooking everything up. My brother Rowdy was over, Brad was over. Chad helped a little while, as much as he could, but then he had to go back home, of course. So we went on it there pretty hot and heavy Wednesday evening, to the point where we got everything in the engine compartment hooked up. And then threw the batteries in it and tried to crank the thing, and it cranked right over. I had a couple little problems here and there. I had to change over some wires, this, that, and the other, which you can expect after taking the cab off of a truck. And then cranked her over, and it wouldn't start. So that's where our tribulation started. We were high on the roller coaster, over the precipice of the roller coaster, and then we went back down when the doggone thing wouldn't start for us. But couldn't figure out why right away. Everything seemed to check out. The check engine light was not on. We only had one code, and it was a KEM, a memory fault that is normal for these old Power Strokes whenever you put a tuner on them. The wait to start light was coming on. We had the tach was working. We had fuel, so everything was there. The only thing that wasn't was that we weren't sure or couldn't run a buzz test. So after we did all that, we went ahead and called it an evening that night, and then came out Thursday after work. So Thursday after work, KJ and I got to it real quick and played with a couple things. Actually pulled this driver's side valve cover back off because remember, we did change. Well, you guys don't know anything because you haven't seen the full video. I have an hour and a half video put together right now of everything that we've done, but so I did the under valve cover harnesses and valve cover gaskets. So I thought there was a problem with that. So we pulled this side back apart, and I went looking and pulled the injector driver module off. Actually, it wasn't even where it should have been. Me and KJ put it back where it belongs. But we pulled the plug off, and I started ohming things out. And after a long fight, I did find number 8 was open. We got that done, got it all connected. And then KJ ran over to our neighbor's cousin Teddy and got his scanner. We were able to run a buzz test. Buzz test passed fine. All 8 injectors buzzed. So then we started looking at some of the parameters and talking to a couple guys. And what we ended up doing finally was we didn't have any high pop pressure. So there's a sensor mounted right down here to the head. And that sensor, we unplugged it, plugged it back in, and actually these 3 wires run right to it. And I thought possibly because these wires were done previous to me being in here, I thought maybe there was a problem there. So we opened everything back up and took a look at it. Pulled that off, went ahead and cranked it, motor lit right up, and then everything was good. So we plugged it back in, and then it did start to regulate the high pop pressure. At idle, it's running about 720 pounds of pressure on the high pop, and whenever you really jump into it, it jacks itself up. So all is well there. That was Thursday night. We got it to run Thursday night, and then I had left everything open, and we didn't do much from there. So once that was completed, I went ahead and I took today off, a plan, because we have a big party coming up. KJ's graduation party is going to be right here in this garage in 1 week. So as you can see, we've got a lot of work to do for that. Luckily, I'm off all next week, and there'll be a video on everything that we do to get ready for that. But for right now, I had taken today off, and KJ and I ran around a little bit this morning. He had Senior Olympiad at school. But after that, we got back to it, and I put everything back together, got it fired up, and we went for a little ride. Well, on that ride, we found out that third gear, it pops out of third gear. We did have the transmission rebuilt by a guy out in Ohio. He does offer a pretty good warranty. So the bad part about that is now, unfortunately, we're going to have to pull that transmission out. It's just more rework, and nobody likes rework, especially whenever it's a job like pulling the transmission out of one of these things. It's not terrible, but it's not one of the funnest things that I like to do. But it is what it is. It's what we're going to have to do to make it right, and of course we are going to make it right. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was that process, the rebuild process. And as you go into one of these jobs, specifically something like this, the Super Duty is not ultra complex, but it is complex enough that there's enough circuits and systems and things on these trucks that it will drive you absolutely batty once things start to go wrong, or you're troubleshooting trying to make things right. Like when that engine wasn't running, I know I was depressed, simply because at that point we pretty much knew that we weren't going to meet the deadline. And as we all know, the deadline on this truck was simply because KJ wanted to run it in the drive around, which is next Thursday. So pretty much now, especially with the transmission issues that we just found, that is off. And KJ has talked to Uncle Rowdy, and we believe that he's going to get to utilize the El Camino. And if you're a watcher of the channel, you know who or what the El Camino is. But what we're going to have to do now, like I said, the transmission is going to have to come back out of it, but it's not going to happen until after the party because we got to be able to get this thing in and out of the shop. I am going to continue on with the original plan. I'm going to go ahead and take it outside tomorrow and get it all good and cleaned. The doors have got to come off of it, but again, that's not going to happen until after the party. I've got to get the backside of this cab cleaned off, and we got to get it painted. Front side of the bed's got to get painted. I need to get the bed on it, and that has to happen before the party because all of this stuff essentially needs to leave the garage as well as the rotisserie. It needs to get out of here because we'll set up tables in here, and this will be like the main social hall for the party. And as you can see here walking around, it's in shambles. But after doing all the rebuilds and everything that we've been doing this year, you know, we've been really hot after it. It's no wonder. I guess in closing, when you guys, if you do decide to ever take on a big project like this, you have to 100% expect the ups and the downs, the peaks and the valleys on the roller coaster ride, and expect to spend money that you really didn't expect that you were going to have to spend. Expect to redo things that you were hoping that you didn't have to redo, because you're going to have to at some point. You're going to be stuck in that situation where things aren't going exactly how you want them to go, and then boom, you're not going to meet your deadlines. You're not going to be able to do everything that you wanted to do, and it hurts. It definitely, this project, not being able to get this done so KJ could take it to the drive around, it hurt me that I couldn't produce that for him after making all the plans that we did. Obviously, that started back in October when we pulled Pat in here to redo Pat, because Pat was so that we could do this to this truck, so he would have something to drive, and then we could go after this truck. So it's just another one of those steps in life. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And it hasn't killed me yet, but it is definitely making us stronger. And I know KJ's learning a lot from this. And, it's been a constant battle here. All right, but that's all for now. So make sure that you go ahead and give us a comment on this video. Let us know what your thoughts are on the process and how you cope with the ups and the downs. Let us know, are we crazy for putting ourselves through all this? This is supposed to be a hobby. We're supposed to get pleasure from this, not anguish in the field of defeat. But that's part of it, without being able to experience that defeat, without being able to know how that feels, then, once it does work out, that feeling is even sweeter. So, I don't know. Lots of cliches that I can continue to tell you, lots of things. But what it boils down to is it's just something that we've got to do. All right. the Mongo Man is out. We will see you guys soon.